I am excited to chat with you today. It's been a while and I apologize. Life has been busy, as we're all familiar at this time, and I wanted to come today and just talk to you about socialization and all that kind of stuff. Now, I sent out an email on, I guess it was yesterday. Tuesday feels like a long time ago. Time is in this weird warpy sense, but I sent out an email to my list just talking about the challenges of socialization and how, homeschoolers often get the bad rep of not socializing their kids, or that's often a question that people are asked when they think about homeschooling or when they say that they're homeschooling. And honestly, I think we're coming to the realization that that's never really a concern. Homeschooling offers so many socialization opportunities with the clubs, classes, meetups, hangouts, all those kinds of things that are available, right? The question is, now that we haven't had that experience, and a lot of homeschoolers haven't had that experience if they've just started homeschooling this year, and wondering what exactly we're supposed to do. Now, I know in my house, I have 5 kids, if you're not familiar, and they range from, 17 down to almost 6. And their socialization needs are all completely different, obviously, as kids are wont to do, but they're all needing something at this point. When COVID shut down our world about a year ago, I didn't have a lot of concerns about socialization because my kids are really good with each other, and we're not really a super out every day doing everything in the homeschool community like some of my other homeschool friends are. We're just a pretty mellow stay-at-home kind of family who is involved in a couple of activities weekly, so it's not really a huge thing. But now that it's been a year and just having this conversation with my kids, my daughter is possibly the most social person I've ever met in my life, and just sort of watching her little bubble fade has been really exhausting because I feel sad that I can't do anything about it. All of our activities are canceled. All of their friends and family aren't close by. We moved just before, we haven't had enough time to really get people to know enough people in the community to be able to hang out with anybody, that kind of stuff. So for example, my daughter, whenever she sees the neighborhood kids are out in the backyard, she'll run out to the backyard and scream. They'll yell at each other across the neighborhood, across the yards, because there's a house in between us. So she loves to go out and do that. But then I have some teenagers, and one in particular is hitting that point where, 15, he wants to kind of have his own independence, and he wants to have friends, and he wants to be able to figure out who he is, right, outside of the family. And so this has been a really tough time because he doesn't have that opportunity to do that. I can't just kick him out of the house and send him off into the community to meet new friends or to meet new people because there's nobody else out really, or they're in school or not in school. And it's not like teenagers go and hang out outside necessarily anyways. So it's been a little bit tricky. And so we had been planning last January to do some things for him. So he was already feeling that kind of empty, hollow feeling of wanting to have friends. And we had been planning for him to do stuff like he wanted to do rock climbing. So I found a rock climbing community that he could join. It was about an hour away, and I'd take him once a week and he could go do that. We were getting ready to register for that. And we were looking into volunteer opportunities in our community that we could do together because he wasn't quite confident enough yet to go out on his own and do it. So we thought we could do some stuff together. And then as he grew in confidence, he'd be able to do it. So these were challenging things that we wanted to do. And then they all shut down or weren't available as an option anymore. So we ended up just waiting, and here we are a year later waiting. So I've had lots of conversations with him in particular about this lonely feeling and this hollow feeling and this desperate need for connection that he has. And Zoom is a wonderful gift. Don't get me wrong. I am so glad that this pandemic at least has the opportunity for us to be connected with each other through technology, which past generations did not have. So could you imagine doing this, right? So without the technology, I'm grateful every day that I can see people and connect with people and still have some kind of connection. But honestly, Zoom is not the same. And I find the more we go into this, the longer it goes, where things are being postponed and put online, the harder it is to stay connected, to feel encouraged and want to do that. My kids aren't Zoom kids. They are not interested in Zoom generally. We do have some great online programs and communities that we do things with, but they're not like, hey, can we Zoom so-and-so or hang out? They just aren't interested. They're not as interested. So I sent out this email asking for people to give me ideas of how they're connecting with their kids, or how they're getting their kids socialized, or how they're handling this challenging part, and to give me their ideas of what's working with their family. And they gave me a bunch of good ideas. So what I thought I would do is just share them with you, and maybe if this is maybe an idea will come that will be helpful for your family as well. Okay. So number one, I got a lot of kids just need to play, do it anyways. So if you can and you feel comfortable meeting with others and just going about life as usual anyways, good. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. That doesn't work for everybody, but if that's an option that works for you, cool. I'm glad that you've been able to find a solution that works for you. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for us, not because we live in fear, but because we don't really have people in our community that we know very well, and all of our major activities have been canceled or cut down or removed in some way, so we're not able to do that, right? A lot of people recommended just getting outdoors. And now I know that, and they're all like, I know this doesn't really count as socialization, but just as a family or together, getting outdoors and exploring natures and being active and spending time outside together has been really helpful for a lot of people, just to freshen and take some breath time, because I think being in the house during the winter has been hard for a lot of people as well. So being able to go outside and enjoy nature has been really helpful for a lot of families. So if that's you, there's an option to just do that. Even if it's not connecting with people, at least connecting with nature is able to help people ground themselves again. And of course, you can always meet people outdoors. People suggested you can get together at parks and you get together at playgrounds. You can, even if it has to be an accidental bumping into other homeschool families or other people around the community, or randomly showing up at the same forest trail walk at the same time, those kinds of things. So if that's an option for you, then you can connect outdoors as well. And then some other people suggested just having another bubble family. So one other family that you do everything with, that you share and you connect with, there are your social connection, and then you can do all this stuff together. And if you have that option, then make it be an option. So then you do everything together with your kids and their family as well. Somebody else suggested, because it's a teenager, that I work towards helping them think about finding a job or volunteer opportunities, because some people have found that their kids having at least that for themselves as they are dealing with this crazy era, that having that job still connects them with people and, co-workers or customers or any of that kind of stuff. It gives them some forced opportunity to connect with other people. So if your child is old enough to, or interested in, or you're able to find a way to either find them a job or a volunteer opportunity, then go ahead and do that as well. Of course, as we've seen here, somebody mentioned on the comments that Minecraft has been a good solution for their child, and video games and video chats and messaging options such as Discord or the Facebook Kids chat, those kinds of things have offered a lot of kids opportunities to connect with others, whether that's be their friends in a closed community environment or with other people that they don't know. If your children and teens are able to do that responsibly, there's an option as well. Now, not every situation is going to work out that way. I know there was some comments about concerns about the amount of screen time that their kids are having and how that's affecting them. And also, a lot of people somebody mentioned, and I understand that, I don't really know if it's great socialization, as my kids just seem to scream the whole time. That's my house. Whenever the teens play, there seems to be a lot of yelling and anger involved behind video games. So it may not be the most optimal of socialization options, but it is one, especially if you can find a way for them to do it in an enjoyable way. And there were some really cool ideas as well about creative classes and activities that you could do. One lady said that what they do is they do it on Zoom, so they have a little network of friends. And what they do is they have a baking challenge. So what they do is they meet once a week on Zoom at 1:30. There's a theme for the week, and each family presents their plan of what they're going to make. And then after they've presented their plan of what they're going to make, everyone leaves Zoom and goes off with their family and makes that recipe that they're going to do for the day. And then at 4:30, everybody comes back together onto Zoom and they share what they made. So if the theme is like sandwich cookies, then some people will go and make whatever they're going to do with those sandwich cookies. And then they all come back and they share their creation together. So it's kind of like the whole baking challenge kind of idea. So those are really fun and creative as well. So if you can use those online opportunities with the people that you're networked with, at least then you're not just sitting mindlessly chatting. Not that mindlessly chatting, but you know, I find Zoom can be really mentally and emotionally draining. I don't know how to explain it. I find that I like Zoom. I'm super thankful for Zoom, but I can find it really draining at the end. And so if it doesn't have to be this like formal thing, right? It doesn't have to be every meeting has to have a purpose, but just using it to be connected, but not in a structured way. Does that make sense? Like the whole cookie baking idea. So that can be fun as well. There were some great ideas about doing pen pals. And even though it doesn't have to be the traditional pen pal, although there were great suggestions about connecting with families internationally. Pen pals can be a great way for kids to be connected, but also to consider pen pals locally. So someone mentioned that their daughter actually is a pen pal with the girl next door, or someone down the street, and then they just drop each other's letters off in the mailbox, so then they can chat with each other back and forth. And I was thinking it's kind of like when we were in school, for those of us who were in school and we were passing notes to friends. You remember how, maybe this is just me, remember how you worked on focusing on folding up those papers in the funky little designs so that they were like secret messages were on the inside, and then you got them and you had to unfold them. Anyways, I still have some from my high school days when my best friend and I used to message each other. Since we went to 2 different schools, we would hand letters off and those kinds of things. So I think that could be kind of fun as well. And I heard this really cool idea, and if you are good with your community and you have friends in your neighborhoods, or you really want to make friends with the neighborhood, driveway parties. People were talking about how they bring out their lawn chairs and everyone sits at the end of their driveway, which allows them to be socially distanced as required. And then they do things with their driveway. So it could be just chatting with each other with a drink at the end of the driveway, and the kids can talk to each other, or they do themes. So it could be stuff like having a movie night, and someone projects the movie up onto their garage door. Sorry, I forgot my word. Could be projecting a movie on the garage door, or it could be having a dance party where someone's got the music out and everyone can dance. It could also be a talent show where everyone's kids show off some of the skills that they've got, or even, just those kinds of fun things that you can do with people by your own driveway. So that's kind of fun as well. If you're the one thing that I took away from all the emails that I got back, and there were a lot of emails responded to my message this week, which was really cool. And I'm going to message you all back as soon as I get a chance, because there were just so many I haven't had a chance to yet. But the biggest thing that I took away from that is to be brave and reach out. I think it's hard, and it's getting harder maybe after having been home and disconnected from people for so long, to brave that, hey, do you want to get together and do something? Question. Even if it's not like hanging out in my house, it could be, hey, do you want to meet on the driveway tonight? Or hey, do you want to meet up at the park, right? Just be brave and ask, because I think people are craving that connection and just not necessarily brave enough to take that first step. And if you as a person are able to take that first step and to help people feel like they're not as disconnected as they thought, I think you may find that people are interested after all. So anyways, that's my thoughts on socialization, and you guys were amazing on coming up with great ideas. I'm going to sit down with my kids and we're going to see what we can figure out. It may not solve everything, especially for the teenagers, as they tend to be stuck in this like meh stage, but to remember that this too is a season and it will be over at some point. I have faith. So anyways, just remember to stay connected and to support and encourage each other. And if you ever have great ideas on how to keep your kids connected and socialized and not feeling lonely and isolated, especially for our teens, please message, please post, please leave comments so that we can help encourage and support our homeschooling community and the kids that are desperately trying to keep grounded in this crazy season. Okay, have a great day.